Welcome back to another Crafty Thursday. I'm Franky, and today's episode is going to be more about green stuff than the actual build. But don't worry, the actual build's pretty cool too. Let's do this. For the longest time, I've been meaning to use green stuff, but since I've never used it, I've been too afraid to put it on the channel. I figured the best way to learn is to actually just jump into it, so I'll let you know what I learned in the process. Let's start off by getting a test subject. I got a bunch of toys while I was in Mexico. This guy came in a pack of 5 good-looking dinosaurs for less than $10. I was on vacation, but my mind was always on crafting ideas. You can hit up the toy store and find yourself a test subject, I'm sure. Let's start by mixing this yellow and blue epoxy. The first thing I noticed is that it's super sticky. I have to make sure I mix it to the point where it's solid green. Pull, tug, roll, I don't know, mix it however you want to mix it. Just make sure it's solid. I'm also using some sculpt tools for this project. I'm adding some horns to this guy because I need him to look a little bit more like my reference. A monster from Dragon Quest. I'll be doing my own take and only using the picture as inspiration. Sadly, I will also be changing the color scheme. But I will try to incorporate the sword and the shield idea, as ridiculous as that might seem.
First tip.
When working with green stuff, you want to keep some moisture on your fingers to make sure that the green stuff doesn't stick to you more than it sticks to your subject. At the same time, you want to keep the moisture to a minimum. I do notice that the water has a negative effect on it, making it more droopy. I had a friend of mine advise me to use a little touch of Vaseline. I gotta say, it made it a lot less sticky, but it also made it a lot more slippery to work with. I suggest placing the green stuff on a smooth flat surface and work it that way instead if you decide to use a touch of Vaseline. The Vaseline also makes it so that your tools don't stick to it as well. This made it easier to add details. And for these pieces here you see me working on, you'll have to wait till next episode to see what I use it on. A quick shout out to 5header for the tip. He has his own channel here on YouTube, link in the description. But he's my enemy until the September build off is done. And then we're back to being friends. Tip 2. Tip 2. Tip 2? Tip 2. Tip 2. Tip 2 is funny to say. Make sure that what you're working on is stable. I keep dropping the test subject because its feet aren't leveled and it can't really stand on its own. I keep propping it up to things, but I keep making it fall. I then have to fix all the things that I have already worked on, like the horns. The good thing is that green stuff takes damage really well. Even after a few drops, the work it takes to fix this is minimal. It might be better for you to work on the details of the figure and allow them to become a bit more solid before you add them to your main piece. If need be, you can always use super glue to help it stick. Tip 3. This is not clay. What? Duh. Well, I wish somebody had told me this before I started. Don't try to rub your fingers on it like it's clay, like I did, because this is not clay, and I ended up missing some details. You have to truly utilize your tools here. I like to work with my hands a lot, but this is material that works best if you work with your tools instead. The great thing about this is...
Tip 4.
Don't interrupt me. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Tip 4. Green stuff takes on textures amazingly. From now on, I'll be looking for textures I can just imprint on this stuff. I'm so fascinated by this. You mad goons already know how important textures are to me. If you don't know, I'll show you in this piece right here. Using my tools, I add so much detail effortlessly. I just roll my tool and I have a badass design imprinted on my boy. Quick side tip, when working with green stuff, it's best to work in small amounts of it. you should be making your green stuff into small shapes like snakes or little balls. Tip 5. With this stuff, you really don't always need glue. This stuff is super sticky. When everything finally solidified, it was as if the green stuff was part of the toy originally. I feel like the bond is better than if I would have used clay and hot glue. I think this is one of the reasons why I would gravitate more towards green stuff versus air dry clay. It just feels like it's more durable. It feels a lot stronger. Other issues I came across was gravity. I feel like I was applying pieces on too softly. This was mostly because I was applying them soon after mixing it. Next time, I will mix it, wait a bit, and apply the green stuff after it's become more solid. Waiting 5 minutes after mixing it makes a big difference, but waiting an hour or two makes a huge difference. Even better is making the pieces you want to add and allowing them to completely become solid, and then adding them using super glue. Gravity really hit me hard when I did the tail. I had to prop it in position and hold it up against something else. You just gotta keep in mind that it needs to harden and that you might need to support things you are working on. Worse than that was the horns on the saddle. The funny thing about this is that there was no noticeable change. While it was drying, I went to sleep and woke up and they were all droopy. Keep in mind that green stuff does take about 5 hours to completely solidify. So I guess tip 6 is to keep in mind that gravity will always try to crush your fantasy and ruin your dreams. For some details, you don't really have to worry about them drooping. This pouch right here, I knew it was gonna go on and not droop, 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 droop. So I just put it on there. Droop, droop, droop. Another thing, I was talking to some people online and we were debating whether to put the shields on it or not. You guys let me know what you guys think. I think they look kind of cool either way, but at the same time, when they go on the back, it makes me think that he's wearing a watch, so it makes it even funnier to me. I don't know. You guys talk to me. You guys do your thing down in the comment section below.
Oh no, Steve! I can't find my keys. I'm running late. I gotta get to work. I'm about to get fired.
I hope that helped somebody out there today. Sometimes you just gotta get over your fear and experiment with the material. I was just at my local gaming store the other day. It's called Battlegrounds. I was talking to one of the employees and a customer there. Shouts out to John, gave me the confidence to do a painting video on the channel. But we brought up dry brushing and a customer said something that stuck with me the whole day. He said,
"Don't even bother dry brushing if you're not willing to waste some paint."
That's not really how he talked, but it made him sound more badass. I hope I don't make him sound like mean. But I kind of thought to myself, shoot, he's right. I mess this up a lot, in part of my impatience and in part of feeling like I'm wasting paint. But I didn't just apply this to dry brushing. I applied it to the hobby as a whole and realized that there are times where I don't work on certain material because I'm afraid to mess up and waste time and waste material. But if I don't experiment, I won't improve or get better. There might have been some places where I messed up on this project, but now I know I won't be making those mistakes again, which means my next build will be that much better. It's funny how I went from fearing making mistakes to excitement about improving on those mistakes. Don't be afraid to improve. That's most of what I learned from using green stuff for the first time. I admit that I was a bit annoyed at how sticky this stuff was, but as I worked with it, I figured out ways around it with the help from the community. And with that, I'm thanking my mad goons on Patreon for keeping me up and encouraging me to continue this mad journey. And thanks to those who make it to the end of the video, where you get to know me a little bit better. Go out there and craft some stuff. Don't forget, don't be afraid to waste paint. Catch you on the flippity side. Peace!